Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we are talking about Sega, Capcom, and Xbox. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, on November 4th, Capcom put out a press release stating that they had been hacked. The press release is titled, Notice Regarding Network Issues Due to Unauthorized Access. Beginning in the early morning hours of November 2nd, some of the Capcom group networks experienced issues that affected access to certain systems, including email and file servers. The company has confirmed that this was due to unauthorized access carried out by a third party, and that it has halted some operations of its internal networks as of November 2nd. They also go on to state that this incident has not affected connections for playing the company's games online or access to its various websites. Yes, their websites are up and running, so this statement is true. In terms of playing the company's games online, well, I think their poor netcode is probably doing way more damage to being able to play the games online than a ransomware attack ever could. But moving on from there, they also go on to state that at present there is no indication that any customer information was breached. This is very important, and I want to take a second to highlight something. So this statement here, no indication that any customer information was breached. This does not mean that no customer information was breached. It simply means if there was a breach, they have not found it. If they were confident that there was no breach, they would specifically say it. They would not say no indication. They would say there was no customer information that was breached. So it's just something to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that there is customer information that was compromised. It just means there still is that possibility. So it turns out this hack is actually ransomware. Bleeping Computer posted an article that says Capcom hit by Ragnar Locker ransomware, 1 terabyte of data allegedly stolen. If you want to read up more about this, I will leave a link to the article in the description below. There is a ton of information here. Part of the data that was stolen includes accounting files, banking statements, intellectual property, proprietary business information, clients' and employees' personal information, such as passports and visas, corporate agreements, non-disclosure agreements, confidential agreements. There is a ton of information here, and they prove they have some of it by sharing some corporate files. They go on to state that they have encrypted 2,000 devices on Capcom's networks and are demanding $11 million in Bitcoin for a decryptor. So not only did they steal data, they also rendered a bunch of devices useless. So if Capcom sends them the 11 million in Bitcoin, they will send Capcom the decryptor so Capcom can access their 2,000 devices. And they've also promised to delete any stolen data and send Capcom a network penetration security report. At this time, we have no further information, but we do know Capcom is working with the police to help sort this out. Now, moving on into more bad news. Sega has apparently had a pretty tough year, and they've asked 650 employees to voluntarily retire, and they've cut some executive salaries. In the official statement from Sega Sammy here, if we scroll down into bullet point 2, it says, eligible applicants, full-time employees and contract employees of our group companies, 650 employees. So that's 650 employees of a total of 9,051. And if we take a look at the calculator here, that works out to about 7% of the workforce. And scrolling down, we can see the pay cuts that the executives took, which is pretty substantial. The director of the company took 30% pay cut. The senior executive vice president took a 20% pay cut, and the senior vice president took a 10% pay cut. These are not small numbers. And the news for Sega gets worse. On November 5th, Sega announced they are selling their arcade business in Japan, 85.1% of it. In a Kotaku article here, they say that after the sale, the arcades will keep their names and branding in order to keep existing customers. Sega will continue developing arcade games, but will be shifting a portion of its arcade game developers to home console games. So if you're worried about Sega going out of business, don't worry just yet. Sega stock did take a major hit in 2020, but it looks like it's on its way back, or at least trying. With Sega heavily bleeding this year, selling off a part of their business, asking employees to voluntarily retire, and cutting executive salaries, there is the question whether or not they will be willing to sell themselves to another company altogether. And if you take a look at it, Microsoft this year has been extremely active and has already been rumored to be going after Sega. I mean, earlier this year, Microsoft bought Bethesda for almost $8 billion. They definitely have the money to throw around to buy Sega too. And just a little over a month ago, Microsoft did tell CNET that they were considering buying other game studios. Now, the rumors of Microsoft buying Sega have been around for a few months now, and they've only picked up steam since Sega came out with this recent information. Realistically, these are just rumors. We don't know if Microsoft is interested in buying Sega. We don't even know if Sega is interested in selling to Microsoft or just selling at all. There is a ton of information that we just don't know yet, and we don't have the insight into either Sega or Microsoft at an executive level to know what's going on behind the curtains, if there is anything going on. But anyways, that is all I've got for today. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Microsoft potentially buying Sega. Let me know what you think about Sega letting go of, well, asking 650 people to voluntarily retire, as well as cutting executive salaries. And let me know what you think about the huge Capcom hack. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.